Hey, good morning, fuckers. It's another day at the Daily BM. What's up, Mikey?
Hey, everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the Daily BM.
You seem really jolly this morning.
Have you ever just had one of those mornings where just like everything that could go wrong goes wrong?
Well, would you like me to elaborate?
Sure.
So I go in, I'm prepping for a colonoscopy. So whatever shitty day, you're having, at least you're not peeing out of your ass. So, hey, there's that.
Not yet.
Wait, what?
I said not yet. I mean, that could still be on the horizon. The day's young. The day is young.
This is true. So tell me, what has started your morning off the way it is? Like where everything's gone wrong.
So I get up.
Mm-hmm.
First thing out the gate, I stub my toe on the dog's kennel because the dog's kennels were next to the bed. And that's not a great way to start the day off, you know?
Right.
Then the toilet won't flush for some reason. So I got to figure out after work today what's going on with the toilet in the master bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
It's not running or anything, so I don't know what the situation is. Then, we had that baby goat that the wife rescued that's in the house right now that we're bottle feeding.
Right.
So I make a full cup of milk, go to put it in the microwave, hit the door of the microwave, and milk goes all over the kitchen. While I'm cleaning up the milk that is all over the kitchen, the English muffin that I had put into the toaster is burning because somebody turned it all the way up to like 8 minutes.
Guilty.
And I didn't check it beforehand. So I just started it and I was like, dink. And now it's like a mini fire going on the opposite side of the kitchen.
The muffin's like black.
My truck got picked up for a check engine light.
Right.
And I'm like, this is no problem. I got the extended warranty. So worst case scenario, it's $100. What could go wrong? Oh, back it up. The stepson, he was going to stay home from school today to watch his dad's and stepmother's new puppies. But they ended up saying, no, you need to go to school because you have a test. And he was like 5 minutes late. So we missed the bus. So I had to drive him all the way out to Kathleen and drop him off and come back. I get back and I'll get to the truck in a minute. So yesterday I went.
There's more.
Oh no, it's a chain of events. Yesterday I went and got feed for the goats and the horses, and I'm carrying the bag of feed back, and I set it down on the fence to unclip the fence.
Right.
We had to keep a clip on it because if we don't, the dog opens up and takes a joyride around the neighborhood.
Right.
So I put it on the fence, I clip it, and as I'm lifting the bag off the fence, the little drawstring on the bottom catches the top of the fence and opens the entire bottom of the bag as I'm throwing it on my shoulder. So like a third of the bag spills all over the ground. And I'm just like, fuck it. Then I'm walking to the back when I have my sneakers on, my nice Brooks black sneakers, and I step in a giant steaming hot pile of dog shit.
And the hits just keep on coming.
I dump the remainder of the food into the metal bin and I scoop it. And as I turn to walk out, I guess one of the landscape rakes had shifted and it was just enough to catch my foot. So I went flying out the door and almost cracked my skull open on the other side of the stall because I stumbled over it. And that process, I've spilled the entire cup of food that I had in my hands to feed the goats. So at this point, all I could do is laugh. All I could do is laugh at this point because I'm just like, okay, this is just like getting insane.
There's nothing worse. There's just nothing worse.
I go get the goats taken care of. I'm walking back. Meanwhile, they had picked up my truck to take it into service, and the check engine light came on, and I said,
Right.
it's no big deal because I got an
Yeah, it's
extended
just a check
warranty on
engine
it.
light. No big deal.
Worst case scenario, it's going to be $100 because I got a bumper to bumper extended warranty. So I get the call. They're like, "Hey," I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" They're like, "Yeah, the error code is throwing saying that the catalytic converter's bad." I'm like, "Catalytic converter?" And they're like, "Yeah." And unfortunately, the catalytic converter is the only thing on the entire truck that does not carry the extended warranty. It's the only thing that's not covered. It has its own separate warranty that's 8 years or 90,000 miles. And unfortunately, your truck has 90,153 miles on it. And we have to send in video documentation.
Oh, just stop. I gotta get a laugh. So you're like literally just over 100 miles over your warranty. That's the fucking
153 miles.
That
153
is
miles.
the absolute
And the worst
worst.
case scenario is, the worst thing is it went off last Saturday, and I scheduled the appointment, and I was like, instead of scheduling it for Monday, I was like, I had too much stuff going on. I was like, I'll just do it for Thursday because that was
So
the
you
next
drove
available date.
153 miles over the weekend.
Yeah, because I went to Brooksville twice on yesterday.
My God, dude.
Yes, or Tuesday. I went twice Tuesday. Yesterday, the truck sat at the house all day. I didn't go anywhere. So yeah, I went to Brooksville twice on Tuesday, which took me over over the 90,000 miles. And yeah, so now that's gonna be a $2,300 repair.
So that trip now, just instead of costing you $100 or $200, whatever it was, now it cost you $2,400.
Yeah.
With total package.
Then I pull the bike out of the garage because I need transportation because I have an appointment I have to go to, and I get it up.
When you say
get
bike,
it all
you mean
aired
motorcycle?
up. Motorcycle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I pull the motorcycle out, and it throws a bad battery warning, low battery, bad battery, even though it's been on the charger, the trickle charger. Luckily, it gets me where I need to go and gets me back, but I do have to replace the battery in the motorcycle as well because it is throwing a fault code, and it won't show anything
I'm
else on the
seeing is
display other
this.
than that's a battery problem. As I'm walking, I get home, and as I'm walking over to my coupe, when Aiden moved the tractor, he didn't lay the forks flat. He has their angled up. And I didn't see them because I was looking at my phone. So I literally hit them with both of my shins. So now I got 2 bruises on both my shins. Yeah, and I went into a push-up. So thank God I've been working out because
If not, you
if
would
I
have ate
hadn't
it.
been working out and I wouldn't be like 60 pounds lighter, I probably would have broke my face because I probably wouldn't have been able to catch myself.
You're listening to the Daily BM.
There's nothing worse than a shin hit. That's what I call them, shin hits. It's
it hurts, dude.
Now, this might be you might be a little young for these, but I don't know if they had them in your era. Did you ever have the metal bicycle pedals that had the teeth on them?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know if that was your
yeah.
era or not. Because in the 80s, that was standard for all bikes, man. And they ate your
the
fucking
bikes,
shin
the
up.
the bikes didn't have the free spin on them. Like they moved, they kept the pedals would fly.
The pedals would spin like crazy.
Would spin by themselves as you're going downhill because they didn't have the ones where because when you push backwards, they put the brake on.
Correct.
That was the brake. So when it would roll forward, if the tire was rolling forward, like your feet would. So you start going really fast, your feet would be like like go down a big hill, and then you kick your feet out of the side. The pedals would still keep spinning.
You keep on spinning, and then fucking nail you, dude. And you were just like,
and then
it would light you up.
It'd either light you up in your calf or light you up in your shin, depending on which side you were on.
It's so funny because like you see like today's generations, like they all play video games. Most of them, they very rarely go outside. They miss the torture that you put your body through when you were a teenager or a child growing up in the 80s and 70s and early 90s because, dude, those pedals would just eat your leg to death. I can't tell you how many times. The other worst thing too was you like we're talking about like where it was you had to pedal, push your pedals backward to stop the bike.
Yeah, brake. Yeah.
Well, to brake the bike, and then they had said, "Oh, we're going to take this to a whole nother level of death. Let's just put front brakes and rear brakes on the back hand brakes.
On the
so you had the front on
the
left and you had the back on the right. So you couldn't go backward anymore, because it would just spin like a 10-speed would do, is what we called them. And so if you're back brake,
they're still called.
Yeah, are they really still called 10 speeds?
think so. They have 10 speeds.
So, God forbid you never change the stupid little pads that gripped onto the rim, on the back, because that was always the one to wear down first. Then you had to go to the front brake. Have you ever hit that front brake so hard that it almost throws you off the damn thing?
No, I've endoed before. I've gone over the top of the handlebars because my back brakes didn't work. Like they didn't actually lock up, but the front brakes did. So the whole bike went. Yeah, just like that, face plant into the ground.
Those are the worst, man. It makes me think about.
We had so much stuff. We had so much stuff that would kill us as kids that these kids today don't even have to worry about.
Okay,
like
so
do you remember lawn darts?
Were they called jarts or something like that? Like lawn darts?
Something like that.
I think they were called jarts.
These huge ass metal spears with wings on them.
Yeah, you just throw the bitch up into the air and like, hey, I'm gonna let it come down and stab my foot or head. You know what I mean?
And you were supposed to throw it into a ring away from you, but everybody always threw it straight up the air and then just ran for safety to see who was gonna get impaled by the jart or the lawn dart. And then we had the metal swings of death, like in the metal slides.
Metal playgrounds all the way, dude. If they were out in the sun in Florida, you were gonna catch your skin on fire, dude, and just burn.
you were sticking to it, kind of like a non-stick skillet. Like you were like, it was like a stainless steel skillet. You would stick to that thing. You're like, get me off it. And then the swings with the chains and the metal like little seats that you'd sit on. You remember those?
Oh yes,
where if you cracked your head on those, you'd have a concussion for like a month.
Dude, you are right. They're called lawn darts or jarts. It could be either or, but they are lawn darts. But the other one besides the metal freaking playground of death. What you remember on the playground specifically, the carousel that you would try to spin and fly you off at 100 miles an hour and wipe your ass out?
Yeah, you'd have one person sit in the middle and like 5 people run around the sides of it. And they'd all start pushing it. And then one of them would get airborne and he'd be holding on and he'd be spinning airborne. And the person in the middle would be like, ah! And then you go flying off. Oh, I remember those. And then the rusty ass monkey bars that nobody ever took care of. And you'd be jumping across them. You'd come across and one of the bars would break while you're on it. That's how I broke my arm the first time. I was on a monkey bar set or second time.
Rusted out.
Second time I broke my arm. You rusted out. So when I jumped to that monkey bar, the monkey bar snapped and I went flying to the ground.
See, the one game I remember being dangerous, especially if you weren't paying, if you just glanced off to the side one moment, you were going to catch a fucking tetherball right to the face. Do you remember tetherball where they had the rope,
I love tetherball.
And it had the ball on the end of it?
You start hitting it down so that way it goes over the person's head and they're jumping. You're like,
if you turn your head one time, you're going to face plant.
Yeah, and then jump and try to get to it. Or if you hit it wrong, it smacks them hard in the face and knocks them out.
Fucking tetherball days. I remember, man. I ate balls to the face, but I actually freaking took one to the side of the face, dude. It was like,
oh, you did?
Horrible, bro. I was sitting there and I glanced off to this chick walking past. Go figure, right? And freaking slapped me right up.
Checking out the chicks.
That's another thing. Why chicks are dangerous. That's a whole nother freaking episode. But that's why chicks are dangerous.
They'll murder you.
Because they'll murder you, or you'll end up killing yourself because it's a distraction.
Just distraction.
But yeah, dude, I've taken a tetherball right to the side of the face. Dude, had a big red whelp right down the side of it, and it was the worst. Another one was the slip and slide. You know how dangerous that damn thing actually was? I think they're still around.
Oh, they are.
But they're still dangerous as shit. I mean, if you really think about it. I mean, you slap your freaking abdomen down to the ground. If God forbid anything in the yard was left over and you laid it on top and didn't see it, it was going to light you up and eat you to death.
Oh, my parents' friends didn't give a shit. They would just throw that thing out and throw some dish soap on that and throw the garden hose, and then they'd light up their cigarettes and grab their beer, and they wouldn't give a shit. They were just like, you bounce off it, and they're just like, just walk it off. Throw some Robitussin on it.
Hey, don't worry about the sprinkler head that we left out. You know what I mean? It's right next to it. You hit it.
I mean, our generation parenting was so lax that at 10 o'clock, do you remember the news would come on and say, do you know where your children are? Like, it would have to remind the parents at 10 o'clock at night that they had kids, and their kids were somewhere.
And your mom's
that's how...
And your
That's how
dad didn't
hard we
give a
were
shit.
as kids.
Yeah, and your dad didn't give a shit. It was really the
Nobody
dads.
gave a shit. Nobody gave a shit.
Moms kind of gave a shit. They would still pick up the phone,
I don't know.
the phone that hung on the wall with the long ass 25-foot cord, and be walking to the kitchen cooking with the phone under her ear, calling, "Hey, is Brad over there? Yeah, he is. He's here. Send him home. But he knows he's supposed to be home when the lights come on. You know what I mean? That kind of shit. But dads, nah, let him be. He'll be all right." That's how my dad was always like.
We grew up on the streets, man. There was survival of the fittest. They just didn't. They're like, if he comes home, he's meant to survive. If he doesn't, he doesn't. That's it. Like they're just like, you know. It's like, where do you sit in the car? Anywhere you can fit. Like that's literally like that was the motto. It's like you don't get a seatbelt. They didn't even have seatbelts in the back seat. Like that was a myth. Like it was like.
You are 100% right, because it just made me think about my dad. Yeah, he had this car, and it had like this huge back glass window, and he was like, "Yeah, you can just sit up there." I sat up in the window, dude, all the way to St. Louis and back. I never once get out. I had a blanket, just sat there and like in that back window. I have fond memories of that. I'm like, or the station wagon with the window down in the back, and the freaking exhaust was pouring into the car. Carbon monoxide poisoning going on.
I remember riding in the back of trucks. You know, like sitting on top of plywood, holding that shit down. At any given moment, I could have fucking been Aladdin flying through the air. You know, just like, and they'd have just literally been like, just brush it off. Like you get hurt too, and they're just like, man, walk it off. Like brush it off. You're okay. You're fine. Like,
listen, dude. Here's the thing. If you could pick one dangerous toy that you never got, but you were like, man, I wish I would have had that, what would it have been?
Dangerous toy?
Like any dangerous toy, like anything.
See, I didn't have a lot of toys, but one of my friends, his parents bought him everything, so he literally had almost anything I could think of.
Oh, really? But were you kind of like, man, I wish I had that in my yard, or I wish I had this or that? I can tell you what mine was.
The dumbest thing that we did. Do you remember the Daisy pump action BB guns?
Shoot each other.
Where if you just pump it once, you could shoot somebody at like 25 feet and it wouldn't break skin. It would just sting and hurt like hell.
Like a mother.
But if you pump it twice, then it's getting lodged like in the skin. You know, and if you pump it 3 times, it's going deep. You know, like that was probably the dumbest thing that they gave us to run around and shoot each other with. It was like BB guns, you know.
Okay, so the one thing I always wanted that I never got, and it was dangerous as shit. Even now, it still can be, but they kind of changed the way they designed it. The trampoline.
Oh,
I always wanted a trampoline in my backyard, and you would jump like freaking 25 feet into the air, dude. And if you came down wrong on that bitch, it was going to fuck you up. I mean, it was.
My friend had one of those. Yeah.
People in the neighborhood.
You know what we would do? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I always like to go over to my friend's house that had them, because I was like, man, we can go freaking skyrocket, man. You would hit and plant one way, and it would shoot you off, and you knew it was gonna be a bad day midair because you were coming down wherever it sends you.
This is what our dumbasses would do. My buddy had a pool, and he had a pool house next to the pool that was about 25 feet away from the pool, which was just enough room to put the trampoline between the pool house and the pool. So we would climb on top of the pool house and jump off of the pool house, hit the trampoline, and flop into the pool. And none of us actually got hurt. But can you imagine how incredibly stupid that is?
Oh,
and like,
I can't believe you guys did the trampoline. You just added a whole nother tier level.
We would ride the bikes on the roof, off the roof, and try to make it to the pool. And we would make it. Like we would clear it. Like we would hit the ramp. We would. I mean, I look back and I'm like, I don't know how we survived. I really don't.
Listen, I'm still curious how you took it to Final Destination on using that. We used to think it was cool just to like jump off the roof into the pool. You know what I mean? Like dumbasses.
Yeah, we did that too.
Yeah, but
we did that too. We jumped off the roof.
You up the ante. Hey, let's put a trampoline there, man.
Yeah, you literally jump onto the trampoline and you bounce into the pool. I mean, the roof was that roof was probably maybe 10 feet up. It wasn't like super high up because it wasn't like the houses today, but it was still like a pretty stupid move.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've seen some dumbasses even take their bikes and ride bikes down the freaking roof into the pool.
Yeah.
Like
We did
dumbasses.
that.
And I'm going, oh my
We did
God.
that. We did that.
The BB gun thing, though, that's
We
pretty
would
funny.
do stupid shit too, like who would have the balls to hold the M80 long enough with their hand closed, like in your hand,
Oh
like you
yeah,
held
let's
the
go ahead
M80
and blow our hand up.
you lit the fuse, and then you'd be like, you throw it away before it blew up. Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't participate in that because I was like, I'm too young to be like
to be
not have a hand.
one hand. Start calling
And
you.
luckily, none of us got really seriously injured.
Yep.
I mean, I do remember one time my buddy Nathan, like, his dad had a 350Z and they had a minivan, and their driveway was super steep.
Mm-hmm.
And he was trying. They had his go-kart. He got in trouble, and he had one of those like go-karts.
Mm-hmm.
So his dad had parked the 350Z in front of the go-kart, so that way the go-kart couldn't be taken out without the 350Z moved.
Right.
So what Nathan did was he went in the house and he got his dad's keys and he put the 350Z in neutral and he started pushing it out of the driveway. And it hit the hill and it started rolling. So he ran around behind it and he tried to stop it. And obviously you can't stop, a 4,000-pound car as an 8-year-old kid. So he rolled and he got stuck between the 350Z and the van. Like, so much so that both quarter panels had dented in on the van and the car, and he was wedged and he was screaming. And like, we heard him like 6 houses down. My dad came out and was like, what the hell's going on? And he went and they're like, oh shit, and they stood there. The other dad came out and they were both smoking their cigarettes, looking at the kid going, all right, what if we put it in drive, it's going to probably smash him. You know what I mean? Like, they're like contemplating, because it was like, we're not calling the cops over this. We're not calling 911. Like,
dads of the
there
80s.
was none of that when we were there. Like, that's the 80s. It was like, no, we're going to figure this shit out on our own. You know what I mean?
They took medical care into their own hands in situations.
Pretty much. That's pretty much exactly what they did. I mean, they ended up wedging the back tires with wheel blocks. So that way, when they put the car in drive, it wouldn't roll backwards anymore and smash him. And then they put it in drive and they just started slowly creaking it forward. And they got him out. You know what I mean? Like, he was wailing the whole time. And then his dad, like, as soon as he got out, it wasn't like this, oh son, I'm so sorry, I'm so glad you're alive, everything's okay. No, it was a straight ass whooping.
I know. So not only did you fuck up, dude, and take your dad's car and fuck it up, now he's beating your ass after he knows you're okay.
So this wasn't like, let me check to see if you're okay, like get you out of this situation. No, this was let me uncover your ass so I can beat it, with my hand. Like, he was like, hey, look at this kid. Look, you damaged both cars. You know how much this cost me? Like, he just went off. And I was like, I'm never seeing him again. He's going to go inside and be murdered.
He's dying.
And he was grounded for like a month. Like, I didn't get to play with him for like a month. Like, I wasn't there when this happened. Like, I heard the story after the fact. So
yeah, but still,
I was in the house,
funny.
and I heard my dad heard him screaming, and he came back in and told us what happened. Then Nathan had told us what happened earlier, so I didn't witness it firsthand. But
then he was screaming again after the ass whooping.
Oh yeah, my dad, like, I don't know if your dad is like this, but like, my dad, like, he relished ass whoopings. I felt like
my dad didn't relish
ass whoopings. He had a belt. He had a belt, that his favorite belt, to like whoop my ass. Like, it was just like
he had a mic belt.
He's like, you know what? I'm going to take all my frustrations out on you.
And they did.
You done fucked up.
Yeah.
You done fucked
you
up.
Done fucked up.
Made my day. Let's go. How many do you want? Move your hands. Move. It's going to hurt more if I smack your hands. Right. You're not going to move. Whack. I told you. And the whole time he'd be like, as he's hitting me, he's like, whack. This is hurting me more than it's hurting you. Whack, whack, and I'm like, why are you still hitting me then? If this isn't punishing you so much, like, I got it after the first one.
And the reality is, it didn't hurt them at all. Dude. They didn't give a shit. They took pleasure in it. You could see the smile as they were beating. They were beating you. They were like, take this shit, motherfucker. All the shit you put me through, feeding your ass and everything else.
Straight up rage beating. I only whooped my daughter's ass one time.
One time. I whooped my oldest, my stepson, one time. But my youngest, that is biologically mine, I beat the hell out of him he was the biggest asshole from like 2 years of age. That was your payback.
That
was my payback for being such an asshole to my dad. Seriously, because I was like, man, I'm never going to get this kid to change direction, man. And all of a sudden at age 6, he just did a 180, dude. Doop, 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 I'm good now. Da, 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 da. So, and he's a great young man now. So, it is what it is. But we'll leave on this note.
I did feel bad about when I whooped Victoria's ass that one time.
Yeah, well,
it did bother me. I don't feel like it bothered my dad though.
No, he didn't. He was smiling the whole time.
I was a little piece of shit sometimes.
And that's how he felt about it. He's like, I'm gonna beat this little shit's ass right now. I'm good at winning the shape. But here's the thing. I will leave on this note. I always said the famous word of any dad, any line that he ever said was this: anytime you got hurt, anytime you had any problem, and he looked at you and go, man, just get up and dust that shit off.
Oh, no. You know what my dad's favorite line was?
What?
I helped bring you into this world, and I could sure as hell take you out of this world.
I heard that from my mom. My mom was more notorious for that. My mom would be like, Jesus. I brought you into this world, and I'll take you out. And I'll be like, okay, yes, ma'am.
No, this would be my mom would be like this. Be like, I'm going to tell your father when he gets home from work. And that right there would be like the kiss of death. Like that's when I knew I'd fucked up.
And that's when you knew.
Because I already knew he wasn't going to be happy when he got home from work. Because he's already like
pissed
done
off
with the day.
Yeah.
When he gets in the door. And then it's mom, he walks in and the mom's like, because she's been stay-at-home mom all day with me, or all day cleaning. So she's going to unload all of her baggage on him. And he just walked in the door. And then she'd be like, oh, did you know what your son did? And when I heard like your son,
you knew it was
then
on.
I knew.
And just like that.
Oh, that's what he did. Well, hold my beer.
And then you heard the famous words, Mike, get in here.
Yeah.
And when I heard, Brad, get in here, I knew something was up.
No, I heard, how when you take the belt and you like pop it? Yeah. No, he would deliver. He was like Pizza Hut. Like he would deliver. He would deliver the ass whooping. He wouldn't make me come get my ass whooping. He would deliver it.
He would bring it out. He'd bring it to you.
Pop! Like warming it up. Pop! You know what time it is? Hammer time.
You just assume the position. You're just like, you know what? I'm not getting out of this. Fuck it. Just take the pain and move on.
I remember one time sitting at the table at the coffee bar, not the table. My dad was sitting next to me. My mom said something, and I said, not now, Mom. I'll do it later. Next thing I remember, I woke up and I was on the floor staring at the ceiling, and my face hurt.
He smacked the shit out of you.
What the fuck just happened? I was like, what the hell just happened? He's sitting there wiping the back of his hand. He's like, if I ever hear you talk back to your mother like that again, I will end you. Yes, sir.
Well,
I didn't even realize I was talking back. All I said was I'll do it later. I didn't want to do it right now. And I was like 15 at the time. I was like scared to death. I was like, Jesus.
I just like
Jesus,
the fact your old man
Joseph
said, I will end you.
Oh, yeah.
Your dad's awesome. I will end you.
Yeah,
you never taught her like that again.
Jesus.
Hey, but the words he said were words of wisdom. I will end you. Well, speaking of endings,
he was like that.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, we can end the show.
Yeah,
fine.
No, it's okay.
We can save the childhood traumas for another time.
I got plenty of memories we could talk about with that. I'm sure people could relate. Yeah. But you want to finish what you were going to say?
All I was going to say is that, like, it's crazy looking back, like how scary and intimidating my dad was to me as a child, and how I don't feel a lot of men carry that status with their kids today.
No, they try to be their friends. Well, we can talk about that on a whole nother
Not
episode.
just try to be their friends. I'm not talking about trying to be their friends. I'm talking about their physical appearance. Like, I'm talking about how they carry themselves. I'm talking about how they present themselves. I see so many men out there that just are not there. Like, they're not there. There's no masculinity to them. You know what I mean?
I would agree because, like, I never ever had my son challenge me until like he was living here. I think he was like 19, and
I remember that time you chased him on the road.
Dude, I was right. He knew it. He knew right then and there I was gonna beat the shit out of him. I was literally gonna. And I mean, people can dog me out, whatever they want, but when you put your hands on me and you're younger than me and you're my child, it's game on at that point. Now you're saying you're a man and you're ready to go for the champion. So I was like, okay. All right. I grabbed that bitch by the neck and I was like, I'm about to beat your ass, dude. And he took off running. But the only thing is he's like 3 times my speed, so I could never catch him. So I just kicked him out of the house.
That's okay, though, because they have to come back eventually.
Oh, he came back. He actually, honestly, all joking around aside, it was the best thing to ever happen between us. Because we're both, because he was coming into his own, testosterone's flowing in his body. I get it. I was there too. I challenged my dad, and my dad did it the other way, but it actually made us closer. It really did. It made us closer. And then he actually realized he can't be like that. You know what I mean? And then, of course, the only thing I said was I lost it because he put his hands on me. So when you put your hands on me, I lose all sense of, hey, here it comes. I'm bringing it. I'm bringing it now. No matter if you can kick my ass or not, I'm bringing it. And because you're not going out unscathed. But I learned that from my dad. I challenged my dad the same way he challenged me. The only difference was I didn't put my hands on him, but my dad handled it smoothly. He just grabbed my keys because it was his car. You know what I mean? He paid for it. I was driving it. You know what I mean? And he was like, you can leave. And he kicked me out of the house, and I was living on my own for a few months. And that's
hardcore right there, man. That was the hardest thing he ever did.
He did not bend, dude. And my mom was the one sneaking me $10 here, $20 there, so I could eat and get some. He did eventually give me my car back, but I still couldn't come home. He didn't let me come home until I was man enough to go back in front of him and tell him I fucked up. Which I did.
Jesus, dude.
Which I did. I apologized and said I was sorry. I should have never talked to him that way. And can I please come home? And he said, of course. My dad's always been level-headed. Wow. So, but we'll leave it on that note. And we'll come back and talk about the family life and stuff like that on another show. Guys, don't forget, head over to thedailybm.com where you can check out all our socials. You can also go to YouTube and Rumble. Our Rumble account is really growing. We're getting a lot of views over there. So go ahead and check us out over there too as well. Mikey, got anything before we get out of here?
Hey, everybody, have a great day. And just, remember, it's always a good day to have a great day. That goes out to you, Talon Stone.
That's true. And don't forget, we're going to be talking about some product or a product line coming up soon. So we'll keep that under wraps until, a future show. So anyway, with that, we'll catch you guys on the flip side.
Have a good one.
Deuces.